And next up, we have Sterling Jones. He is the co-founder and chief growth officer of JoJo's Chocolate. Sterling is just in the waiting room, so I'm going to bring him back in. And we'll have him here in a second. There we go. And Sterling, you're just joined on mute. Amazing.
Right. Joe, what's
How are we
happening?
doing?
Let's do
Oh,
this.
we're firing off. We've got two down. We got a few more to go. It's been smooth sailing. It is a hilarious feature that can't be fixed, that all the panelists who joined just joined right into the live session. So it's been a great little timer for me and for everyone. But yeah, we're so excited to have you here, and I was so thrilled to see your email in my inbox. For those who don't know, Sterling is a BYU alum, and in my outreach about the event, I connected with some BYU professors who forwarded the event details out to a lot of their students and helped bring in a lot of them here to the summit today. But Sterling was one of those receivers of the newsletter and reached out and was like, seems like an amazing opportunity. We connected, and here we are. We're happy to have him.
Let's do it. Yeah, thrilled, man. Thrilled to be here. Like what y'all are doing, and would love this stage of entrepreneurship for any of those that are kind of in that student shortly after. Like that just resonates with me because that's when this whole journey started for me. So I'm thrilled to hopefully answer any questions, provide some insight, and continue to help people develop into entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, it seems like the on the journey that people always talk about, and we hear it time and time again, that it's always the journey, not the destination. And we say the summit is the destination, but really it's just a goal to help us move forward one step at a time. Looking back, obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of moments on the journey that were very significant and impactful, and that you could reminisce on. I mean, you're still on the journey in general. But could you just take us back to kind of the early days of JoJo's and give us a little bit of the background on the story and those first steps that led you to where you are now?
Totally, totally. Yeah, absolutely. That's where I'd love to jump in. You good if I share my screen and
Yeah, absolutely.
a couple of videos? I think it'd be super helpful to answer exactly that question you just said of like that beginning stage. So my thought is I'll share a quick video of JoJo's and then who we are. So let me share my screen here and we'll jump in.
And the share audio checkbox in the corner,
Okay, let's do that.
in the bottom left corner when you're sharing your screen, there'll be that checkbox for the audio.
Yep, you got it. One sec. Did that.
No worries. I've made that error time and time again.
Let's see. Did that work?
Yeah, we got the screen,
Okay. Let's see if
but we're not in full screen yet.
let's go try that. Let's see if this works.
Perfect.
Okay. Tell
Right
me,
on the money.
can you hear this? Let's see.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You got that? That music?
I thought I did. No, I didn't have the
Okay.
music.
All right, let me
My
try.
mom,
How about this?
JoJo,
Oh,
was
we got the sound there.
my
All
mom.
right, let me start over. So to answer your question, I'm gonna kick it off with our story behind of why JoJo's was started and who we are. So we'll kick it off here and then we'll keep going.
My mom, JoJo, was larger than life. She was also my hero, my best friend. When my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was 2012, she faced it with so much courage and optimism. You hear about other people being diagnosed, you never expect it to be your family. She had no intention of starting a company at all. She was battling cancer, trying to cut out sugar. So she went to the kitchen and created a delicious dark chocolate snack for herself. I'm not going to be alone on that box. We need to take this to everybody else. It didn't feel like a job. It didn't feel like a business. It felt like something we got to do together.
Hey, this is JoJo with my son Sterling, and we just want to thank you for ordering JoJo's.
In February of 2019, I woke up to a text message from my dad saying, "Hey, you guys want to come home?" The cancer came back. She was such a huge part of our life. When somebody is larger than life, they leave a hole larger than life when they're not here. Best word that I can describe my mom's life is truly love. That's what I hope we embody here at JoJo's, is spreading love through what was my mom's love language, which was chocolate. And that's why it makes so much sense that she started with me a chocolate company, because that's the best way she could spread love.
So I'm all about beginning with the end in mind, right? So that's who we are. That's what I wanted to create, and it's the reason we exist. To answer your question around like the starting stages, that's what gets me excited, because that's obviously like what we've created today, but it's not where it all started. So I've got a few pictures and slides to kind of share a couple stories of that, what I call the failures along the way, like the true beginning stages of failing. And really my theme is, obviously this was the title here, how to start your entrepreneurship journey while in college. But to me, it's summarized in literally 2 words, which is just start. It was something I had to tell myself every day. Y'all saw the video of my mom going through cancer, created this chocolate product. And I was at BYU at the time, had gotten into the finance program actually at BYU, was going down that route because my dad did it. I had friends doing it. Like everybody else around me was doing it. It was kind of prestigious. It looked cool. But like after I had taken an intro to entrepreneurship class, I just like was like, man, that is what I want to do. But I didn't know what, right? Like I didn't, when you say, hey, I'm going to go do an entrepreneurship program, it's like, cool, what are you going to do? Right? Because you don't have a path. There isn't like a clear plan with that. If you get in the finance program, it's like step 1, step 2, step 3, and you get a job. Right. And so for me, it was like, all right, I know this is what I want to do. I got into the finance program, but I ended up dropping out of it and switching into the entrepreneurship program because I was like, I got to just like go that direction, kind of take that leap of faith. And I remember taking this girl out on a date, and she said to me, what are you going to do with that degree? I was like, yeah, I wanted to say, well, I'm going to hire you one day. Right. But, so it was kind of a reminder every day, like just start. So I kind of like to, jump to this, first story about like how we got started. So my mom made the first recipe in the kitchen. She's like, let's call it JoJo's. My nieces and nephews call me that. I was like, I love it. Let's do it. And we went and did just a CrossFit competition, where we set up, we had a tablecloth. It was literally like $500. I put in like another 500 my mom put in just to buy like a table, t-shirts, all that. And we sold out. It just like, it went, people loved it. Now, granted, we had made a small amount, so selling out wasn't like, but for us, we're like, holy smokes, people love this. People like it. So from there, I was like, all right, next step, let's actually take this like cellophane bag with the sticker on it, turn it into something. But we didn't have any money, and we needed to print packaging and all that. And so I went to my dad, and my dad's like, no, I'm not giving you any money, which was the best thing he could have done for me. Right. So I actually applied for a short-term student loan at the time. And for those in college, that's not what it's for. It's not to go start your business, but it's like, I needed a few dollars to get started, to make this packaging, which allowed us to sell it on Amazon and just get started. And so for us, the first thing was like, let's get it up on Amazon. Let's see if it sells. And that's really how we got our start. Was I just dove in and immersed myself in how does Amazon work, keyword bidding, reviews, all of that. And that's how we got our start. It was like, okay, it's up on Amazon. People are starting to buy it. There's repeat purchases. And I knew then, like, okay, if I do that enough, like I'll be able to pay back this short-term student loan and buy some packaging. So that's how we got started initially. So happy to kind of keep running, Joe, if you want me to. I've got some more slides, but wanted to kind of pause there for you.
Yeah, no, just taking that all in. I mean, and if you wouldn't mind just jumping off the screen share so that
Yeah, you bet.
people can see us. It's I love the BYU logo, but no, it's really incredible to hear like people talk, and like while you were thinking, my brain went to, or while you were finishing your sentence, I heard, and you said start a few times, my brain was thinking about start in general and what we're doing, and just that it's such a theme that everyone is constantly talking about in entrepreneurship and business and life is just action over thought. And seeing that even if it wasn't like the right move or the safe move to go and get a short-term loan to start your business, it was like you were like, I need to keep the momentum going. This is a next step that I can take. I know that I have these certainties that if I make this product, people will buy it. And I know I just need to somehow come up with the money to take that next step. And so that was your next step. And I think that's really like brave is one thing, because betting on yourself is the only person you can bet on in life is yourself. Really. And so to take that bet on yourself and just be like, I can do this, is one just really amazing. And I love seeing the results. What like from there, I guess you can kind of continue the story, because obviously there's another step after that, and it's keep going up the mountain. But I'm sure that was one of the scarier steps, especially. So was this so? And as far as like the diagnosis, I mean, we don't. I like part of the story. It includes your mom and her cancer treatments, and kind of the initial springboard for this was how far along were we in the process? Was she still involved in the chocolate at this point, or was this all you?
Yeah. No, early on it was my mom and I. And so like at this part, like she was very much like we were still making in the home kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And like trying to figure out how and where do we sell it. But we were like, we can at least get it on Amazon, right? And she was involved for the good first 5 years. And we'll kind of get to that of like the cancer coming back and all that you all saw. But more importantly, like early on, it was let's sell on Amazon. And then it was like, hey, what's next? And so I'll share three more like stories that really answer that question of like what was next. I'm gonna, if you're good with that, I'll share my screen again, a couple quick shots. This next one is I think everybody's familiar with Kickstarter, right? My friend had just sold like I think he did 100,000, and he was selling sleeping bags. And so those that can see this, like the goal was 10,000. I got $3,700, right? I had done this big like Kickstarter event, brought all my friends, people came, and of that 3,700, 2,500 was my dad. So it was a complete flop. It was a complete flop.
And at the time, probably you're thinking like $10,000 is a large chunk of change, but you've seen so many success stories on Kickstarter. You're like, I've got this.
Yeah.
Like, this is no problem. We built the video, we filled out all the details and made the different packages. And I love like, I mean, Alex Hormozy, gym guy, created Gym Launch, but he has the screenshot of his bank account being like negative whatever for the third time. So I love seeing the funding unsuccessful screenshot of just like, I'm not going to let this stop me, and I'm going to keep moving.
Yep. So this was one of the moments like, all right, okay, like online that didn't work, right? Like, and to me, we actually had somebody that was kind of a partner at the time, and she's like, all right, like I'm out. But for me, it's like, no, this just was something that didn't work. I learned, I tried, I created new content. Like for me, it was a stepping stone. I'll skip the video. Another one was, okay, like we were trying to figure out how to get the word out there. And we got on this KSL article and immediately got like 100 orders overnight. And at the time, my mom was making in the kitchen. And in Arizona, for those that don't know, in the summer, it's 115 degrees. And at 9 p.m., it's still 100 degrees, right? So I remember we got this order, went down, and was like, all right, we got to figure out how to get this out. So we found a USPS that stayed open till 9:30 at night. And we made the chocolate all day, cooled down the car for 30 minutes, packaged it, threw it in the car, drove to this USPS. As the truck's leaving, throw it on so it doesn't wait, right? But again, like it was one of those things where like my dad was sitting there going, what the heck are you guys doing? And at the time, like, I'm just trying to like, just starting, just figuring this out. Like we got an article, people are like excited. The concept resonates with people, like guilt-free, low sugar chocolate, got all these orders. And the next step, you know, when I started, I kind of forgot the whole like sell it and ship it. There's like this middle ground. You got to get the product to the person, right? And so this was one of those where it's like, no, we're not going to let that stop us. And so we just had to figure it all out. And then lastly, actually, I'll jump to this one. So kind of the story like I talked about, it was, all right, we did a CrossFit competition, farmers markets, we did Amazon, then we got like a PR article, did some online, and then it was like, all right, chocolate, the majority of people are buying it in store. And I think that's in your journey is everybody talks about find out who your customer is, find out where they are, right? The faster you can do that, the faster you're going to grow. And I should say the sooner you can do it, the faster you're going to grow. So we learned, all right, buying chocolate online is not a typical consumer behavior. Like if you think about it, was the last time you bought chocolate, you were at the grocery store and you just like, oh, I got to try that, right? So we learned we got to get into grocery stores. So we were selling on Amazon, but on Amazon, they buy it in the box, right? And so the barcode on that box on the outside, they scan that. On the inside, where these little bars down here, you can see that barcode on the bar was tiny. So what happened was I delivered to Whole Foods. We got into the 4 local Whole Foods. So we just started like local. So let's get us in. I delivered it to the back of the store. I wait an hour till they put it on the shelf. I go around to the front. I go buy a bar and I go to scan it. And the lady's like, I want this scan. She turns it over and she goes, oh my gosh, look at this barcode. Who would do that? It was too small to scan. And I was like, yeah, who would do that? Like, can you believe that? I'm like, let me read it to you. So I had to read her
fool.
the number. So I read her the
That's
number and I immediately like bought all the bars and had to like overnight new packaging and figure this all out.
yeah.
Right. It just
And just to jump in quickly with just a quick question for someone who is looking to build a product and get it into their local stores, one of the first steps outside of trade shows and these kind of smaller events, how difficult is it to get into one of those top wholesalers or
you
even
know,
like the local grocers?
local grocery stores, it depends. When it comes to like food, they all got to go through a distributor, right? Unless you're going to deliver the product, right? Which even then, most local grocery stores, they want you to work with a distributor. So that's usually kind of one of the hurdles. Fortunately, like Whole Foods was good with me being the distributor, and since it was Utah, I would just go and deliver it to the 4 local Whole Foods. And there's some value in that. Like there's value in just getting into a couple. You're not going to make a lot of money off of it. And I think that was something I was like, wow, it's going to take a lot of stores and it will to make a lot of money on it. But just learning of like, okay, you got the wrong barcode. Hey, what are the programs that I can do? Okay, I can demo in the store. So yeah, finding a couple local Whole Foods here in Utah would be Harmon's, Associated Food stores. It just, you learn, okay, what do I need? I need a distributor, or I've got to be the distributor, or how else can we do it?
Got it. And Lindsay being part of our she figured it out.
Cool.
That was the lovely feature I was talking about where
Yeah, no
the
doubt.
panelists jump in.
Love
Okay, no, that's great because I was the first thing that popped into my head when you said you got into those stores was like, okay, how for anyone watching, how difficult is it for them to follow that step? And if like I've thought about making a hot sauce. I
Yeah.
love hot sauces and I've made a few in the past. But like, okay, what would be the next step for actually moving that towards production and putting it in the store? And obviously there's you've got to create these things in like a certain environment in these kitchens. And that was one of the questions I had about the rules regarding, I guess, safety and food with with creating chocolate in your home. Are there
Yeah.
specific laws around things that don't involve dairy and meat versus things that do?
Yeah, it's funny. I get asked the question all the time, like, "Oh, what about all the regulation?" I don't know if this is a good thing because U.S. is much less regulated than like I've gotten our product into Canada or Australia, and man, their rules are so much more intense. Frankly, to get started, like figure out how to put a good nutritional fact label on there. And then there's like I think it's called cottage like certification, like meaning you certify like your home kitchen. You do those 2 things and you can make it. You're not going to run into big issues until you're somebody like Kellogg and a Hershey, or you start competing with those guys. Then people are be even before that, but you don't need. It's just like get started, figure out like obviously be sanitary, be clean, like follow those few rules there. Make sure your nutrition facts are right, but you're not going to run into hurdles and like pushback on selling a food product.
Got it. There's less they don't mess with the little guy so much until you start becoming a bigger guy.
Yeah. Surprisingly, in food, yes, like there's less regulation than people think to get started, you know. Really, so yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear the progression from those first initial sales into the big stores, and even the problems that you start running into when you get to that level.
Yeah. I'd
Similar
love to
to,
share one more
oh,
story
please.
about that. Yeah. I'll share my screen one more time just for fun. This one is one of my, again, kind of going back to that whole theme of just start, right?
I
So,
recognize that place.
right. So we had Whole Foods selling the wrong barcode. We figured out how to get the right barcode in there, got into Sprouts nationwide. And what helped us was we had all these Amazon reviews, right? It was like you needed some proof that people liked your product to go into a grocery store. You know, you walk into a grocery store, that buyer, each category, they have somebody called a buyer, right? Coconut water, chocolate, whatever it may be. In order for that buyer to even give you a chance, they need somebody else besides you telling them it's a good product. So that's what Amazon helped us. We had all these reviews so we could go present. So we got into Sprouts, Whole Foods. I was like, let's go talk to Costco. Costco took us
That's
a long
a big player.
time. Yeah, but you know, we went in the first time. She's like, okay, I can't do another chocolate bark. I was like, that's fine. Like that's what we used to call it. It's like we can change the name. And Costco loves to make it their own, right? But this is a funny story of like just getting started. I'll show this fun video. Give me a thumbs up, Joe, if you can hear the audio.
Absolutely.
Ryan, what do we got going on here, man? Why are you stamping bags?
We forgot to put the servings per container. 15,000 bags, need that 14.
Yep. See that number 14 is not there. But thanks to Ryan, it is. And JoJo, yourself, what are you doing?
Even me is helping the cause.
Why would you not be?
Stamping the expiration date because it was forgotten off the bags also.
How many bags do we have?
14,000,
Actually, correction, 15.
15,000 bags that we're trying to get to Costco.
That will be going in this tray right here. But don't worry, we're gonna make it happen. Well,
That is a defeating error.
you believe that? I looked on like the PDF online as the bags were coming. Like I just pulled it up and I had to check something. And I was like, man, we literally forgot the servings per container. And they were arriving on Thursday, starting to make them on Monday. So we hand stamped all of them to get there. And it was just one of those things. Like that video is funny to me because if anybody else saw a product in Costco and then they saw that office, they would have never thought, right? like that, but that's kind of the theme of like, just get started, you know, figure out how to prove that people love your product. And then you're going to learn, you're going to make mistakes along the way. You're going to forget the servings per container. You're going to put the wrong barcode on. But that's why like getting started and you make those mistakes sooner before it becomes a huge issue, right?
Yeah, no, I keep mentioning we have a skill speaker or a skill session on Saturday tomorrow. This guy, John Rush, who is pretty much a digital builder. He's the founder of MarsX, but he is constantly talking about on Twitter and LinkedIn about idea validity and how for all of his projects, he builds a landing page and talks about it and does SEO blog writing to really just make sure the idea has enough attention and that he waits till over 200 people sign up on the website before he starts developing the product. So really talking back to that idea validity and making sure that you have a customer. And if you do, then just getting started for that next step. So you have customers at the gym shows. You're like, all right, just keep going. And then you have customers at Whole Foods, keep going, Costco, and just keep working up the ladder. So at this point, what's the scale of production for you guys, and how many stores are you guys in?
Yeah, we're in several thousand. We're up about 6,000 stores. We're in Costco nationwide, and sold over 1 million bags in Costco. And so we've been through like initial home kitchen, second like little co-man, third was chocolate factory, fourth was another chocolate factory. Now we're on to like a large, and we have 2 different chocolate factories. And that process was just honestly cold calling as many factors as we can to see if they can make the product, right? And learning what capabilities they had. And, the thing is, these bigger ones they have minimums, right? So we had to start growing to get their minimums. We got into Target, we got into Walmart, we got into Costco, in Whole Foods. And so then we had enough volume to be able to work with better pricing and bigger co-mans and better quality. The good news is, as we've grown, our quality's gotten better and the product's gotten better instead of the opposite. So that's been
Yeah,
really cool to see.
that makes me think about, I mean, quality obviously more consistent, the larger batches. How has the recipe changed for you guys from the kitchen to maybe the newer chocolate factories where they have such high quantity minimums? I mean, I'm sure there's different ingredients that have been added for like not as much preservative, but like some type of ingredient or stabilizers. Has the recipe changed at all in terms of scaling to those batch sizes?
No, we really have not. I mean, that's been something we've been very stringent on and just strict of like, these are our requirements. We got to find somebody that can make it. We don't want preservatives. We don't want other ingredients in there. So we've been really strict on that and just found people that can do that. The thing that's happened is for the toppings, because like it was made by hand, right? So that was like a
Yeah.
challenge of, my mom was like, no, it's got to look this way. It's got to be pretty. And we're pretty strict on that. It took us a while because it's a hard item to make, but we were able to find somebody that was able to do it. And it just took a lot of, I feel like there was kind of a period we went through several months where I was like, this is not as good as it could be, as it should be. And we just kept pushing the envelope. Like, okay, we finally found somebody who is willing to make it happen. So I think you got to do all you can to not compromise quality.
Yeah, no, it's a smart lady on keeping it a pretty candy too. I mean,
So,
my late mom, who we talked about in kind of our pre-chat, her family has a toffee recipe. It's the secret family recipe, which I guess it is kind of secret, but it's such a small batch, peanut brittle. It's like, I mean, Caro syrup and almonds, and then chocolate, and you have to make the brittle first, and then put on the chocolate,
yeah.
smooth it, and let it freeze. And there was such a process that she always followed. And it's like, can't have too big of a batch or it loses the quality. You have to do it this way or the chocolate separates. And so I know that these processes for creating something is a lot like, I mean, they say cooking is as much of an art as baking is a science, but I feel like baking and crafting chocolate is kind of a little bit of both, where you do need a little bit of art, but if you don't do it the scientific way, sometimes things fall apart.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. We've been kept quality at the number one reason. Like we just can't sacrifice that. So and chocolate, surprisingly, getting the chocolate is so much a science. It's crazy. So it's been really, really cool to see.
Where do you guys get your chocolate from?
We source and import from Germany, actually.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. We've always
And
used European chocolate since day one. My mom, I mean, to begin, she tried and tasted so many different chocolates to get it the way she wanted it.
settled on German. I know German chocolate cake is one of my brother's favorites. So
Right.
I had that a lot growing up. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I mean, I love Lindt is one of my favorite as well.
Right.
I mean,
You're
I won't
Swiss.
mention too many. Yeah, I won't mention too many rival chocolate companies, especially I won't mention one that has to do with a YouTuber.
Right.
Um,
We all know him.
I know he's a beast.
All right.
Um, but I guess from the we have a minute or two left here, but I'm just curious
Yep.
kind of how your role has expanded from the little steps at the beginning, and what little steps you're taking now, that to you still feel like little steps that are compounding even at this level.
People is everything. When you talk about like what compounds and uh, I don't know if I like fully love or like believe in this quote, but the quote of like, if you want to go fast, do it yourself. If you want to go far, do it with people. And I believe like in essence of that, of like, yeah, like you can go faster when you're totally by yourself. But to me, it's more relatable to say like, if you want to build something big and make a bigger impact, you got to do it with people. And that has been the biggest learning for me, is getting the right people on the bus. We've all heard those quotes from good to great, right? Of like, get the right people on the bus and get them in the right seat. And when you go to hire, like if you're somebody who's like, I expect XYZ. Don't be afraid to tell them that. I used to get hesitant. I'm like, what if I scare them away? I'm like, well, that'd probably have been a good thing. Right. So getting the right people, being able to have the right people on the bus in the right seats, it changes everything for you. That's been my biggest learn. It's been my biggest struggle is hiring and having the right people, keeping the right people, letting go of people. And so now the role that I play, we actually have a CEO, and I play more of like a chief growth officer, more brand building and marketing and
Mhm.
sales, which is really, it's amazing because you get the right people. It's like, wow, we can do so much more. And so the last thing I'd say is avoid the pitfall of measuring your success by how big your team is. Like, don't get out over your skis. We got out over our skis saying like, oh, we need to hire, we need to hire, and the growth will come. The best thing you could do is the opposite. Grow until you're like, we have to have people to keep up.
Got it. No, that's really smart. I know it kind of also ties in. I mean, I know if you want to be a lean startup as much as you can and do the most with what you can is no budget, whether you're working with no budget or just not as many people and man hours. I love Gary Vee because we were talking about the managerial process. He says a lot of hire fast and fire faster. If they're the right fit, reward them, keep them close and keep them moving up. But if they're not the right fit, that's okay. They'll find a great opportunity somewhere else, and then you can just keep building and keep growing with the team that you have that really works for you. And there's not a seat on the bus for everyone, but when you put those people on the right seat, it's kind of amazing to see how things have clicked for different companies, and certainly how things have clicked for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's well said.
Well, I'm so happy that we were able to connect and that you were able to jump on. The JoJo's chocolate story is so inspiring, and just seeing you guys move from kitchen to store to Costco and beyond is amazing, and a testament to what you can do if you bet on yourself and have great foundations, and including a great recipe and a great mom. So thank you so much for taking the time to jump on with us for the summit, and so happy to hear your story.
Joe, great to be here. Appreciate it. If anybody wants to connect, you can find me on LinkedIn, Sterling Jones there, and follow us at JoJo's. And always looking to connect and help people in this stage, in this journey, and connect with fellow entrepreneurs. So appreciate it, Joe.
Yeah, appreciate you, Sterling. Have a great night.
We'll see you.